Okay, we're going to run a demonstration of Dumont and the running object table as it pertains to accessing multiple commence databases. Let's say we take a prototypical database. This is a live database. This is called kes.sv2. And if we want to access that via an external script, typically we would write a script as follows. We would create an object, set it to a local variable. The name of the object would be called commence.db. That's the active script component. That gives us access to the DB object in commence. We can check that object for nothing. If it's at a state of nothing, then we can error with a message and quit. Otherwise, we print the name of the database that's been provided for us. Let's run that program and see what happens. And we get what we expected. We get a kes.sv2, which coincides with the name of our open database. That's all well and good until we have two databases that we want to have access to, like we have now. There's no way to specify in VBScript access to the second database. This is where Dumont comes in. Dumont's very similar to the direct to commence version. Instead of connecting to commence, we connect to Dumont. Here we create an object. It's called Dumont.exe. That's our server. Set that to a local variable. Once that's done, we can define another local variable that represents the application. We probe into Dumont, we go into the application set, and we request the database by name. In this case, the database is called kes.sv2. Save that. We'll run this program, see what happens. And again, we get same result, same database. But if we want to access our other database that we have open, this one's called test.db, all we have to do is specify the name of the database here. Like that. We'll save that file, run the program, and now what we have is we have access to the testdb application object. To get to the database name, of course, we have to go from the application to the database to the name object. That's very common. No changes in the commence API there. And here's where the fun begins. Take a look at this next program here. This one accesses Dumont in the same way. Then it prints out the number of applications that we presently have registered. And then it loops through those applications, printing out details about them. Let's see what happens when we run that program. This program prints debug messages to a special Dumont window. This is a really handy window. It's a text window. You can type here. You can also cut, copy, and paste. So as you squirt out messages from your VB script, it's very easy to look back on them and debug them. Let's follow through this. We have an application count that gets printed. We have two applications running. For I equals 0 to applications count minus 1. Here we print the application, sub I, database name. This is consistent with the standard commence API. What's also interesting about this program is we are also able to probe into something called a form running object table. Let's take a look at that. If we go back to one of our databases and open one of these forms, let's take this one here. Here's your standard form. Let's go back to our debug window. I'm going to erase all this data here so that we don't have to look at it. Let's run the program again. What we get now is application count is 2. The application 0 is kes.sv2 as expected. Application 1 is test_db. But here it's printing out some form details. Here we have a form open. It's called Dumont. The category that the form is on is also Dumont. And the item name is datamwp.ini. It's pulling this field value here. If we go to our test program, open a detail form on it. Let's go back to our debug window. I'm going to erase this again. It's easier to look at when it's empty. Run the script again. Here it prints application 0 is kes.sv2. Form 0 has the Dumont form. Here it goes into application 1, testdb, and it prints the details about that form also. That all happens here for k equals 0 to forms count minus 1. We print the form index number and then dump information about the form. We have the form name, the category name, the item name, and so on. All of the regular form properties that are available during regular VB scripting are also available through Dumont from external script files. So if you have your forms open and you register them into the form running object table, you can get access to all of their content, fields, connections, anything that you can get access to from a local script as well. And that concludes our presentation.